I'm Janelle and I upload new videos every single week. In today's video, I'm getting ready for brunch and I wanted to film this video because I just discovered a full face of bomb drugstore makeup products. I wore them the other day and my makeup looked flawless. I'm not kidding you, all day long. Picture is from that day. The makeup was on for 8 hours and this was after taking a body shower with the makeup on. You guys, you need this routine in your life. It was probably one of my best makeup days. Keep watching. This is such a great drugstore spring summer makeup routine for bridal events, prom makeup, brunchy vibes, if it's gonna be like a long day and you want your makeup to look snatched all day long. Let's get in the video. I started off with my e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. This is such a tried and true for me. Like, honestly, I can't do my makeup without it, especially if it's gonna be for like a full day. Also, I already moisturized my skin. Today, I used the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream, but I forgot this is the one that I used when my makeup stayed put all day. I honestly just forgot to use this today. Like, I was in such a routine of what I typically use. You guys, I rediscovered an oldie but a goodie, the L'Oreal True Match Foundation. Do you remember this? They actually changed the packaging of this, so now it comes with a pump. I love the original formula, but I would always gravitate toward the L'Oreal True Match Lumi because it came with a pump. I love how versatile this foundation is. It's like, you can build up the coverage or you can wear it more natural. It's a nice satin finish. Dot this pretty much on my breakouts first. Whatever's left on the back of my hand, I pick up with the butt of my beauty sponge. This beauty sponge is from Amazon and I just push that into the skin. And I do a thin layer. I don't mind if like my breakouts or blemishes are still peeking through because by the time I go in with concealer and powder and all that, it normally covers it right up. Taking my sister-in-law to brunch for her birthday today. I wanted to get like balloons and stuff, so I need to get ready quick. I also want to show you guys the outfit too. Just gonna add a tiny bit more to this stubborn freaking breakout right here. Let it sit and I'm not gonna blend it out right away. I hope my ISO isn't too high. I like try to mess around with my camera settings, different lenses and stuff, but I like trial and error because I honestly haven't really grabbed for this. Like, I feel like it's too bright. Is it too dark now? I think we found it. But look how pretty it leaves the skin. It gives such nice coverage and it's like the perfect glow without being too glowy. From there, I like to do my liquid contour on my nose before I do the concealer because I'll use the concealer to blend it out. Also, guys, the list. I'm getting better at my Invisalign, but every new tray that I put in, I have to get used to talking with it. And I put in new trays every single week. It's like kind of annoying too because like for occasions where I want to take pictures, I feel like I can't smile with my mouth open because there's all these little like ridges that they have to put to let the Invisalign grip to your teeth to better move it. Not for everybody, but if your teeth were like mine to begin with. So like I can't smile with my mind open because it looks crazy. And then when my mouth is closed, it just looks super bulky. It's been a whole thing. Anyways, I put the contour at the bottom of my nose, 2 stripes at the top. This Milani liquid contour is truly where it is at. If you are looking for the perfect drugstore concealer, look no further. This one is so good. It kind of makes me upset that I just bought like several different high-end concealers because this is all I've been using the past week. I just noticed how much better and smooth my under eyes look. It gives the perfect amount of coverage without being cakey. It's a nice like satin consistency. It is just such a great concealer, like not even just for a drugstore, just like as a great concealer in general. I feel like this would work with so many different skin types, age ranges. If you have more mature skin and you're looking for a good drugstore option for concealer, this is such a great one because it does not crease. So I like to lay it down first and then I pick up some extra on the tip of my beauty sponge before blending it out. It just helps it blend out more seamless. I'm just gonna lightly tap that into the skin, starting in the inner corner first. That's where I want most of the coverage. Work it up onto the eyelid because I also use it as eyeshadow primer. And then I lightly start tapping down the nose to help blend out the nose contour. Look at that skin. The skin is skinning. Going back into the contour and now I'm going to contour the rest of my face. I like to do a line across the forehead, starting at the top of the ear and just that much down. That way I don't have too much product. And a little X on the chin. The Sigma F05 brush has been my favorite brush to blend out contour recently. I also have been loving this for blush. I want to get another one. Blending out the jawline first and working it up here to snatch it. It's so nice. The leaves on the trees are finally starting to come back. And like just nature is coming back to life and I feel like I'm coming back to life too. That is one thing I so appreciate about moving where I moved, where there are all 4 seasons. Winter can be a little bit depressing, but it can't even describe the feeling of spring and when things come back to life, like you feel it yourself too. You feel way more revitalized and energized versus when I lived in Florida, I kind of like took it for granted. I don't know, every day just felt the same. I don't know, it's beautiful. Like everything dies, including yourself, as terrible as that sound. Like your energy levels, your motivation might decrease a little bit in the wintertime, but then I feel like when spring comes around, it's like heightened tenfold. Everything's so vibrant and pretty. I had a client the other day in like upstate New York, and just doing the drive, everything looked like a painting because as the leaves were coming back, everything was so vibrant. The trees kind of go through this florally phase where it's just like a bunch of flowers. I never experienced spring until I moved here, and it's just absolutely breathtaking. Actually, it really is breathtaking because once allergy season comes around too, I literally can't breathe. I try to take my allergy medicine before it starts getting bad because I feel like it helps build it up in my system. Maybe it's just a mental thing, I don't know, but I feel like it definitely works. Look at that skin! It looks so good. Now taking some of this e.l.f. cream blush. Now I've heard mixed reviews on this. Some people hate it, and I'm gonna show you the best way to apply it because I've never had an issue with it, and this is how I've always applied it. I work my brush into the blush first. So make sure that's evenly coated. I'll like tap off the excess if I have to. Then from there, I tap it onto the cheek, and like I find that it just melts into the skin perfectly and it stays put all day. But I've gotten comments when I've shared this before on how like it's too stiff or it doesn't blend out right, but I always work it into my brush first. I could see how like if you try to scoop it out and put it on your cheek, how that would be really hard to blend it out and blend over everything with a damp beauty sponge. After that, this is what's going to help lock everything in place all day and not look cakey. You're gonna go in with a long wearing setting spray. This is my favorite at the moment. It's the Kokie Mistix setting spray. It has hyaluronic acid in it, so it also helps like keep the skin juicy and dewy, but it's still gonna lock the makeup in place. I like the mist on it. However, I will say it'll like kind of bunch up on the nozzle. So you have to do a test spray first until the stream is right, and then you can put it on your face, because there's been times where I've gone straight, sprayed my face directly before like letting that mist get right, and it left blotches on my face. Next, we're going in with an oldie but a goodie. This is a product that I used to use all the time on my channel, and it is my Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless powder. Between this and the setting spray, I think is what really helped my makeup just not move all day. I like to pick it up with a Dome slightly fluffy brush. This one's from the Morphe X Ariel collection. Lightly coat the brush. Try not to load on too much at once, and then I just pat it in circular motions upward, and it just locks everything in place. It smooths out the, but again, it doesn't leave it too dry. I find that setting the face first before going in with the powder makes all of the difference, like helping everything just mesh together so much better. Position Formula Butter Bronzer. This will never not be my favorite drugstore bronzer. It's just such a great bronzer in general. It's so creamy, the perfect amount of pigment. I'm just gonna lightly tap that over all of the areas that we use the liquid contour. By using a little bit of the cream and a little bit of the powder, it helps mesh everything together, help it all wear a lot longer. And then that way you're not using too much of just one product where it looks heavy. For blush, we're going in with one of my favorites, Kokie Soft Gradient Blush, the shade Heartthrob. It's truly a tried and true for me. Stunning, and it stays put all day. The color is gorgeous, especially with a tan. And I like that you can use the lighter shade if you don't want it too intense, or the darker shade, or you can mix it together for the perfect shade. I like starting at the high point of my cheekbone and then working that in toward the nose. Look at that color. I genuinely don't think I've tried one bad Kokie product. Like, they know what they are doing. We're gonna spray the face again before going in with our under eye powder. The e.l.f. Halo Glow setting powder. Beautiful! It's such a perfect drugstore setting powder because it's not too drying. You're gonna get that brightness underneath of the eye, but it's still gonna keep that glow. I think that this is an amazing alternative from the Givenchy powder that I used in my previous video. This one's in the shade Light Pink, and it's such a great alternative, like I said, to the Givenchy one that's like $60. Lining it up on the side of my nose first, then spreading it out. Take some extra powder with a fluffy brush and use that to set the eyelids before going in with the shadow. Also gonna brush up my brow hairs with my NYX brow pencil. And very lightly, I'm just filling in the sparse areas. This is the NYX Micro Brow in Espresso. Espresso, not Espresso. Forgot that I like to clean up underneath of my brow. I typically would do this before powder. I forgot, so I'm just gonna take a little bit extra concealer with the shader brush. Because I find whenever I do it beforehand, I use way less brow products, but it's fine. You guys, for eyeshadow, I'm gonna put you onto the best affordable drugstore palette. If you've been eyeing the Makeup by Mario palette, but you don't wanna spend $48 on it, this is such a great alternative. And it's the Milani Gilded Mini Palette in the shade Whiskey Business. Look at these beautiful matte shades. They blend out beautifully. They are so pigmented. I will say they are very powdery, so you are gonna get a lot of kickback with them. To me, that doesn't bother me as long as they blend out really nice. Starting with the lightest shade in the palette. See what I mean? It's pretty dusty. I'm gonna dust that underneath of the brow bone just to further highlight. I'm taking this shade shade, taking a straight edge, lining it from the lower lash line to the tail of my eyebrow. I don't know if the camera cut or not, but I basically took this shade and blended that in my crease. Now taking this shade right above it in a smaller blending brush. Same thing, lining up that straight edge from the lower lash line to the tail of the eyebrow, pressing it on that straight edge a little bit lower than that previous color, and then working that a little lower in the crease. Do short, swift, circular motions back and forth. Notice that my eye makeup has been very simple lately. I don't do too much. I think it's fun to do creative looks, but I just don't feel like myself when I have too dark or too much eye makeup on, which is crazy because before I used to feel like I needed to do the most when it came to my eyes. But I feel like if my skin looks good and I have like a good mascara, I could literally just do bronze at my crease and be happy. This isn't drugstore, but it is just as affordable as drugstore makeup. I'm taking this Sephora single shadow in the shade Lucky Penny. And this is actually on sale for the Sephora sale for 30% off. So it's originally $10, but now you can get it for $7, right? Yep, $7. My previous tutorial, I used a Sephora single shadow too. They're just so good. So taking that with a fluffy brush, putting both sides of the brush. I like to take shimmers with a slightly fluffy brush like this for the daytime because I find it gives it like a softer shimmer effect versus like packing it on too much to where it almost creates a cut crease. Spraying my brush, tap off the excess, and then I always start on the inner corner and then lightly tap it and blend it out. It's just such a pretty color. I'm telling you, this would be such a perfect prom or bridal makeup look or wedding guest makeup. Kind of flick it up in here to lift the eye. Look at how pretty! I actually used to use this shadow all the time in 2016 and I restocked it recently. I didn't even know they still made it, but I'm so happy that they do because it's such a pretty color. Now we're gonna push in all that powder underneath of the eye. Look how pretty this is. I love when makeup just comes together exactly how I want it. Picking up this shade with the tip of a shader brush, lightly tapping that on the lower lash line. I try not to move it around too much because if you do, you'll create a lot of fallout. And you always want to tap off the excess. I'll wipe that off on like my hand or something, and I'm going to pick up that shimmer that we used and tap that in this first little section of the lower lash line as well. And I know this seems like weird, but I'm actually going to take this matte light color in the palette, picking it up with the tip of a pencil brush. I'm going to work that in this front section of the eye just to brighten it up and open it up some more. Taking this dark brown, the small definer brush, using a straight edge, I'm going to line it on the lash line first so it's darkest there, lightly pressing that. Then once all the product is deposited, I'm going to work it on that straight edge. And that'll create a soft little baby wing. Turn the brush sideways and flick it up. Lightly extend this inner corner. Curl my lashes. I'm gonna apply my Sephora eyelash primer. Again, this is like $12, and then with the sale it comes out to 30% off, which is $3. That brings it down to $9. Brings it down to $9, which is the same price as the Loreal one that I really like. But if the drugstore is more accessible to you, I also recommend the Loreal Lash Paradise Lash Primer. Same thing with the eyeshadow. If you don't have a Sephora nearby and you want to go to like a Walmart, Target, CVS to look for a shadow similar to this, I would get the L'Oreal Pressed Shadow in the shade Amber Rush. It's going to be maybe just a little bit darker. For mascara, I'm taking the Milani Highly Rated Mascara. This is such a good one. Lighting my lips with Maybelline Totally Toffee. One of my all-time favorite lip pencils. Goes with everything. I think I've shared this before in a YouTube short, but this CoverGirl 18-hour lip product is stunning. It wears all day and it's just so comfortable. It's in the shade 110. It almost matches this lip pencil exactly. Like if I were a bride, this is a beautiful bridal lip. Top it with this Maybelline Lifter Gloss in the shade Gummy Bear. Look how pretty and springy that is. Give a little bit of a pinky hue. And then lastly, this step is super optional, but I'm going to take my number 7 Triple Action Powder in the shade Light. Picking up a tiny bit with my beauty sponge. I'm just going to use this to further brighten this inner corner a tiny bit more. I also have some puffiness there, so see how that just kind of like smooths that out really nice. And then I'll use my blush brush just to make sure everything's smooth. We're going to mist our face one last time. Lastly, let's do something about this hair. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to show you guys my like go-to dirty hair hairstyle. I know that sounds crazy, but it's the reality of the situation. So I think I'm going to do the thing where like I braid here and here. Okay, so basically what I do is I section off this part of my hair, kind of starting at the tip of my brow, coming up and back. And then I do like kind of like a side part like this and come back at an angle. This will be the first part of the braid, so I'm going to section the rest of my hair out of the way. I'm going to start off doing a normal braid, and then I start to pick up pieces as I go. I also have a whole video on this that I did back in 2020 on like my go-to easy summer hairstyles. So I will leave that link down below for a better version of this tutorial. And then I just bring it down into a regular braid. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect because I'm kind of going for that like messy, beachy vibe, or at least that's what I tell myself to get away with it not being perfect. And then I leave about this much hair at the bottom. I rubber band it, taking down the rest of my hair. Now I'm going to take this section of hair and braid it back. I've done so many updos the past few days that there is some buildup in hairspray. So I'm just gonna work that out. Okay, I could actually just leave it like this, but I think this will be better. So then from here, I'm going to start maybe at like the arch of my brow and come back. Then I kind of use this part that I created here as a guide, and I'm going to come straight back. And then I'll section off the rest of my hair to make it a little bit easier for myself. Starting with about a 1-inch section of hair, I'm going to do a regular braid to start. Pick up pieces as I come back. I find that I have to tilt my head to kind of get it at the angle that I want. Now just taking my Bedhead crimper, you can get this on Amazon, at Target, at Walmart, it's only $25. I'm just going to crimp these front pieces to add some more texture and even out the waves. Spray it down with some hairspray, and I also like to swoop down my little baby hairs. You could literally use a toothbrush, or I got this little edge brush from the dollar store and it was only $1. This is one of my favorite summer hairstyles, and you can go with some mousse too. I might add some, we'll see, but it's super easy to do. And it works great on like day 4, day 5 hair. But this is the completed makeup look. I'm gonna get dressed. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. As always, everything will be linked down below. Subscribe if you want to see more content from me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. So cloudy out, but this is the Ouded. I decided to wear my low top Nike blazers. I got these from Nordstrom recently, and I'm so obsessed. I feel like they're the perfect summer dress shoe. This dress, which I got last year. I don't want to promote it because I did get it from an unethical site, but it was before I knew they were unethical. But yeah, and then this jacket is from a recent haul that I showed you guys, Addicted. I love it. I need to clean my mirror. But how cute of a spring Ouded is this? I'm obsessed. This is also the perfume I decided to go with today. It is like one of my favorite spring summer scents. See by Giorgio Armani. Stunning.